G'day, punters. Welcome to another edition of the Vic Preview Show. A big one before what most people call like an adult's Christmas Day, Derby Day on the punt. So, gearing up for that, we will preview the three Group 1s at Flemington. And off the top, as always, just want to thank our sponsors of today's show, puntingform.com.au helps power all the team at the mailbag, and of course baggybet.com. If you don't have an account, click on the link below and sign up to baggybet.com today and make sure you download the app. And as always, gamble responsibly. Before I introduce our panel for this evening, just off the top, we are obviously live, so we're going to run a little competition, and we want you to leave your best Derby Day story, be that biggest collect, big quaddie win, whatever it is, or just a funny story of you on the piss with all of your mates. So put your best Derby Day story in the comments of the YouTube channel, and at the end of the show, we'll read a couple of them out, and the top two will get a little bonus bet into their Baggy Bet account to
maybe we sling Mark Gooch something to first bloke to say hello to us on the chat. So welcome, Mark.
Welcome, Mark.
Get in touch.
Guys, been a big week in Mailbag Town. How is everyone? Jack, we'll start with you.
I didn't get an opportunity to sort of sleep in, be hungover on Wednesday. Well, I did all the pre-race and prep work to be hung and have cruisy sort of Wednesday, but Ems is fallen ill. So a shout out to all the single parents out there. More respect for you than I've ever had. Oh, God almighty. It's been fun though, but today, the back half of today with the rain, it was like many of these horses are going to be in race 7, when they hit the straight. I was struggling. But yeah.
And Gabby, how are you going? Back up in Brisbane town. How's the week been?
Yeah, really good week in Melbourne, catching up with everyone down there. Had a wonderful time. So really glad I just got home tonight, and it's really lovely and sunny here. So Melbourne was great, but yeah, happy to get back to the sunshine.
And
it's
Shane,
terrible at the moment.
Yeah, yes. And Shane, how are you, mate?
Yeah, I'm well, James. I'm finding a bit of a sore throat today. I had a few other pieces of content lined up with like radio and Betfair, but I just couldn't get them. I just can't talk. My throat's too sore. But it's been a big week.
And still something to come for yourself as well.
Yeah. Today, not doing anything was sort of good to catch up on a bit of form and a bit of washing. It was more like a prep day, really, for what the weekend's going to hold.
Oh, good to see you all. As I mentioned, we are going to preview the three Group 1s at Flemington. So we don't really have much to say on the mailbag bloodstock side of things. We're obviously not going to sell you any horses, although two of our sort of flagship horses are running this week. So how are the nerves, Jack?
No, just excited. To be honest, taking M's if we run Cup Day as like a sort of a proper date.
Which is Field of Roses.
Field of Roses, which we haven't sort of done since we had kids. So if it keeps raining though and it's too heavy, we probably won't run. But she also might be too crook. And then Keats is accepted to run Sunday, but we could run all through the week with him. We'll just try and find the most suitable race for him to win. I think he's under $4 in the race at Mornington. I don't know if you've looked, Shane. I haven't had a good look yet. But yeah, he looks like he's well placed at Mornington the way he races, and it's back to a mile.
Yeah,
it's a lot of money, and it looks a weak field.
Yeah, the jockey switch is worth like 4 lengths, so it probably should be double figures. Well done. Good luck.
Oh, it's.
And as for Paul Zuka's not winning no matter what story he tells. Not talking yourself up so much, Curls, will help your throat.
Well, it is a bloody exciting time, the biggest week of the year, the racing calendar, and for the Bloodstock team to have one, potentially 2 runners, for both buys that were sort of down at the bargain basement price, it's a massive thrill for the owners. So fingers crossed the weather gods are on our side, and some mailbag owners can get out to Flemington on a couple of the big days.
Yeah, Keats will definitely run. It is tough at the moment. Like I spent most of Wednesday trying to buy another one, and they're just going for stupid money. So
There'll be plenty more to come. That's it for the Mailbag Bloodstock. As always, if you do have any questions at all or just want to put down some interest on any future horses that we do buy, Jono, Jono at themailbag.com.au. Now let's get stuck into this big card at Flemington, guys. The first race we're going to preview is the Empire Rose over 1,600 metres. So we'll take a look at the market first. And we've got the market up there. Ice Bath coming down from Sydney, $13. Nimmerley, a bit of money for it today, $9. Kiss on All Four Cheeks, 18. Who else we got in the market? Palasapan, 12. Belle Plaisir, 20. Couple at 21. Yearning and Daisies.
She's Lickety Split, $7. And then there's Your Horse. Your Horse.
Yes.
Big on this Tuesday night.
Yeah. And even bigger and bigger after every beer that you had. It was gaining half a length after every drink. But La Crick over from New Zealand is the $2.50 favourite. Early days. Let's have a look at the speed, Matt. Jack, talk to us.
Look, it's hard to map these big fields. 600-metre shoot races out of Flemington, intense everything. I think Mirror Vision and Pride of Jenny, if she runs, can win too. Pride of Jenny, I think they roll forward from the wide gates. They have to. Palasapan, I don't know where it go from 10 to Queenslanders can probably guide us to the intent they expect from it. I thought She's Lickety Split and La Creek both got just gun runs from those barriers. Off a little bit of research with La Creek, I think it's going to roll forward comfortably enough. Nimmerley gets a gun run, can do whatever it wants, can lead, can take a cover, get some coffin. I think Kick Out can be more forward than you'd anticipate from a good draw Waller. Same with Daisies from 2. Excellent thereabouts. Yearning, My Whisper, and Cliff's Art are the 3 horses that'll sort of have to probably snick from the wide draws. And Kiss on All Four Cheeks, we saw her win 3 and 4 wide under Mark Sarah, a month or 2 ago. It's going to probably have to be something like that again. I'd anticipate there's a 3 wide line here, James, on Saturday.
And so who gets the advantages there, and who do you like in this one, Jack?
Leaning as I priced Flemington to I don't want to find horses, and I don't want to be with horses that settle worse in midfield. So we'll look to take them on at Baggy Bet throughout the early part of the day. Obviously, we'll adjust if something happens and it's different to that. Obviously, with the rain around, it's going to be an evolving track. I think She's Lickety Split at the price with 49 kilos could lob the 1-1 here. Is going to be very, very hard to beat. It's really hard to profile.
Firstly, let's have a look at She's Lickety Split in the 1,000 guineas last start over 1,600. She did race a little bit keen this day, but was well in the market, sort of sitting there in the black inside Moody's horse. And I found she probably just hit a bit of a flat spot, but then did hit the line, over the last 100 pretty good.
But as you watch that replay, she's whacked into about 4 or 5 times just in that last 400 metres, and she's gone really good all by one of Waller's that's jumped out of the ground and gone through the swamp that no horse did the whole day. So I think she's airborne. I love the placement. It's aggressive. And I love her map. She's shown tactical speed since she's been here. I know what I'm getting. Whereas this La Creek, you're sort of just watching what the market says. Obviously, the market early is saying she's very, very good.
And let's have a look at La Crick here in the Group 1 Arrowfield Stud Plate over there in New Zealand. That's her leading there at the front. And obviously just kicks away, runs pretty good time. I think they ran 6 or 7 lengths faster than the listed race on the day. And, obviously comes over here with form from New Zealand land, winning a Group 1. Gabby, what are your thoughts here? Whose corner are you in?
I mean, obviously, a horse coming over from New Zealand, I'm very wary of. I don't know a lot about it. So, and I just thought the 250, it may be fair, but probably just that little bit short for me. I think, as Jack said, She's Lickety Split is going really, really well. She did work a little bit too hard last start, but still held on well, and the track was sort of bottomless, I believe. So one that I have been watching, and ever since she's come down south, I think she's flying, and that's Palapasan from the Munts yard. I really think she did a great job last start to hold on for second there behind Chain of Lightning. She's never tried on the heavy. I'm not sure if it's going to be heavy this weekend. When I was leaving today, it was teeming, so not sure.
It hasn't stopped since you got home. It's
so was concerned about that, but if it sort of stays soft, I think she's a really good each way bet. But no Knockler Creek, I personally just probably don't know enough about her. And I mean, Daisy's, she's going to go back. That's a concern, but I sort of am forgiving her last start run there.
I don't know if she'll be that far back. I think with that inside draw, they might try and kick up.
Be a little bit handier, yeah. So yeah, I'm forgiving her last run. I think she could definitely finish well as well.
And before I get to you, Shane, Jack, is there any that you're keen to take on and give the punters who are tuned into the live show a little spoil?
Well, let's let Shane go, and I'll figure that out. Do it on the spot. I just did want to mention, if they are running on, there's a horse here, number 20, Cliss Art, that was very, very good last start, but its map's just so bad that I can't sort of tip it, and I haven't backed it yet, you know. But if they're getting off the fence or something, which can happen, I think that horse is airborne. It's Cliss Art, and it's a huge price. Shane?
Massive insight there, punters that are listening to Jack's bookmaking ability. I'll have a listen to what Shane says, and I'll adjust some prices on the spot. The Creek, start with it because it's the likely winner against a number of horses that are they're just going around, not quite up to sort of Group 1 level at a mile, and they drop. Some of them get into mare's grade or whatever else, and it's just got. I think it's got a bit of class that it would be competitive in a tougher Group 1 than this. Its SP profile over in New Zealand suggests how good the horse is at the top level over there. Gets one of the world's best jockeys, gets a great map. You can see from that last start replay, dynamic turn of foot when on speed, which is obviously a massive tick as well. The rest. I mean, I think the market suggests what they think of the rest. Like Le Creek would start like a lot shorter than She's Lickety Split and Handle It back in New Zealand. And it's like $7 on the second line, basically, isn't it? So,
yeah,
this race has got a long tail. I hope that means that there's a few that want to go forward and chance their arm and inject a little bit of speed. The run-on horse at any old odds for me will be number 18, A Tissue. She has had a habit of missing the start in a few of her races and always running on. But she has run on over this trip before and ran really well a few times. I think she was got beat 2 lengths to Star Tontes in a Group 1 there back in the Queensland winter. Before that, she ran well behind Kiku. I think she was 3 wide the trip that day. So she's racing well. Obviously, it's a get back run on horse. So you want to be able to see the track being able to do that. I think she's one of the big odds that can run on, but
well, she's $51 now if you want.
And just a question to you there, Shane. Obviously, on these big days, we've got weather around, track pattern. Not sure how it is. How do you play a horse that can only go back? Is it like a half stake, quarter stake now and see the track pattern, or you're just nothing now and just waiting on the day to see what conditions are thrown up?
Pretty much just waiting. I mean, obviously at $51, if they can run on, it's obviously in the back of my head to watch those races with that in mind. But I mean, at the price, I still think it'll be there.
And like we say, sort of when this weather is around and there is going to be some track bias, if you're not, you don't have the mailbag.com.au app and purchasing Jackson stuff, Rob stuff up in Sydney, it is that final piece of the puzzle that, 5-6 minutes before the race. And the boys are definitely adjusting the rated prices and speed maps, etc., as the day goes on. So get on board the Mailbag app and purchase the mounting yard for the weekend. Now, Jack, is there any spoils that you're going to give the punters out there?
Yeah, you can have 51 Shane's horse, a tissue, which is bigger than the exchange. You can have $14, which is biggest anywhere, Palasapan for Gab. And I just wound out Yearning to $26 as well. So I just think it's like an inside PR sort of horse, and it's going to get the complete opposite of that on Saturday. But I'm petrified of the favourite. I want to keep She's Lickety. I want to cuddle it. She's Lickety Split. Like, I think it's got 49 kilos.
Any final words before we move on to the Coolmore?
If I was just punting, I'm with Nimali and She's Lickety Split.
All righty, that's enough of the Empire Rose. I'll just touch on our little competition for anybody who has joined us late. Put your comments in below of your favourite Derby Day story, be that, a massive win on the punt, a sick beat even, or, just a funny drunk story with you and your mates. And I think Daniel on there said he sat next to a girl who puked on the train on the way to and home from Derby Day cast.
What? So it was like his date.
Yeah, he hasn't said. Daniel, post in there if that was your date or not.
Or if he was stalking her or something, yeah.
Moving on to the Coolmore, the 1,200 metres down the straight 6 at Flemington. Let's take a look at the market. Jackano, $5. Sajardin, after a nice win last weekend, $21. Buenos Noches, $7.50. Grand Impact, the unbeaten runner, $9. Great Barrier Reef, Shane's bet from last weekend, running around at 101. Coolangatta, who Jack has been keen to take on all prep, $7.50. And hard in the market and favourite coming down from Sydney, the Godolphin runner In Secret. Speed maps down the straight always fascinate me, Jack. What have you got it doing?
I reckon they're going to split into two pairs. I think the outside edition will be Best of Bordeaux and Coolangatta with Economics, Natuno, sort of the first bunch. Sajardin, Cest, something number 17, and Jacquinot, and then Buenos Noches. The inside edition, Coin of the Ball, Dual Custodian, and Grand Impact, the sort of first lot. I reckon Lofty Strike, and Great Barrier Reef sort of sit off them. Then In Secret, thereabouts. In Secret and Great Barrier Reef might switch places there, and Meredith and Views on the backside. I'm leaning to the inside a little bit, but I think rule number one for straight races is you want to avoid horses that are going to settle in that back third as a rule, which opens this race right up if you look at it like that, because there's a couple of horses taking up a lot of the market that are going to be near last.
And before we kick off from the top, let's have a look at In Secret. Jacquinot and Sajardin did run around in the Golden Rose a few weeks ago. I know a couple of them have had a run since. This was 1,400, so you are going to get something different. But Jesus, it was a devastating turn of foot from Jacquinot, wasn't it? Gabby, what are your thoughts on the Group 1 down the straight?
Actually,
we'll
really,
see Jacquinot here.
I'm really looking forward to this race. Whether I know what's going to happen is a different story. I think I was going to stick with Jacquinot just because I just think he's an absolute gun. And after last start in the Everest, I thought he was great. So where he sits, he will be back, I'd imagine, as usual. So as Jack said, that is a concern. But the others I also like, and that Economics, I think, he's going really well at the moment. Buenos Noches, that's it. He's been down the straight before and ran second behind Giga Kick.
Yeah, so we'll have a look at his run here, Gabby, and obviously sort of Giga Kick's gone on from this to win the Everest, as we know. But Buenos Noches was pretty good this day.
Yeah, he's a big strong thing, and I really like, obviously, horses that have been down the straight because, as usual, they can sort of flip the lid a bit and not handle it. I think we've got, what have we got? Lofty Strikes being down there, Dual, Buenos and the bottom weight. In Secret, no knock. Like she's going so well, but Coolangatta, I'm not sure, not sold, but I threw her in there anyway. But yeah, interesting race.
And Shane, who's winning the Coolmore?
Well, Jackado's got the best form in the race, hasn't it? Start there. So easy to have it on top. Not settled, not worried one bit about where it settles. It's a straight 1,200 meter race with tempo. Like, who gives a fuck what the stats say? There'll be horses running on over the top of the leaders, and this will be one of them. Thought Sajardin was pretty big on Saturday. Sectional times will tell you that.
Let's have a look at his replay on last Saturday at Moonee Valley. Jamie Carr on board.
Yeah. Where is this? It's now.
Yeah, getting to the outside now.
Getting to the outside now with a white nose, red cap. I just said that for the people that were mentioning that in the chat.
Sorry, we don't know the number.
Don't know what number it was, but you'll see it there.
Who won?
Winning. Yeah, I thought it was good. I thought the sectional times backed that up. I think you can run a race. In Secret, obviously, the Blue Jackets are going well. Just beaten by a good horse last start. Then obviously Bonos Nachos with that Giga Kick form.
Bonos Nachos.
I had to say something different. Everyone else has said it differently so far.
I'm sure either way we'd all be saying it wrong. It'll have some Mexican twang to it or something.
I suppose the only query on it is, I suppose it has had that trial since its last run, but and Economics is like a horse that's improved this preparation and has continued to improve race to race and sort of rounds out the sort of my top 5 anyway.
And so it sounds like you're pretty keen, Jackano. How would you play this race? Tonight, obviously the punters out there want to have a bet early. How are you looking to play it?
Well, this is I suppose if you just look at this at the scale, right? Like obviously the fillies get a couple of kilos off. Like he's the best horse in the race with the best form, and he's got there's this no knocks.
Yeah.
Ran enormous the other day, I thought. Huge run getting through late.
Sprint like him either.
That's pretty simple. Does he start any shorter than what he currently is? It's around that 550 mark. Well, the only way to work that out is tell me what else they come for. So if they come for another runner, it could get out a little bit, but I just can't see where that is. So, I like 550 or above's a reasonable price, I thought, this time of day. A couple of days out.
Jack.
$6, Jacquinot. I think he's a risk on a soft 7 or worse, which I think we're going to get. It could be worse. I don't like horses that settle worse in midfield down the straight. He ticks both those boxes, so we are now biggest price that horse. In Secret, SP 220 versus Jacquinot 650 in that Golden Rose. Those are 400 meters. She's dynamic. She makes her own luck. She has tactical speed. She's got a superior barrier, a better trainer, and a better rider. Just elite trainer and rider on the other horse too, but it's J-Mac and it's James Cummings. No one's going better than him. I think she'll be the one they back. I think she'll start around $3. I think she'll be very, very hard to beat. I think Buse at 91, well, we're 81, but you can get bigger elsewhere, and I hope that you take it elsewhere. I think that horse is a big price. I think he's capable of bouncing here and putting up a number. Whether that's good enough, I don't know, but I think he's a stupid price. I think the other horse that's a really big price in this race is Lofty Strike, number 4. You can tie the form through a few things to justify having a positive opinion about it. It maps beautifully. It goes good. Flemington. I think it's a very, very fair price. And I'd say the same about Best of Bordeaux, who is going to be up on the grandstand side of the straight, which is often the A1 ground. He handles heavy tracks. He's got form within secret. He was a very good performance last week in the Manikato, which is elite Group 1 race. They run an enormous figure. I think she's a really, really good trainer. And if she's backing him up, this could well be what he was actually aimed at. And it'd be like, full credit Casey Fogden. Like, she used the Manikato to win the stallion making race here. I think he's a stupid price, and you can argue that on SP Profile or just off what it did last week. I think Jacquinot's a risk just off the map and how the track's going to race. And I think the other horse we'll take on is Buenos Noches. Same sort of story. You can tie the form through gear kick for sure. Like, you can definitely make a case for him. But I just think he's a little bit vulnerable from the barrier with the way the map plays out. So, yeah, that's how I see it. Coolangatta, I don't have a clue. I'm very grey. I don't think she wants 1,200 metres.
Which is funny because you've been pretty sort of steadfast in taking it on and can't win. So for you to be
sometimes they walk. Sometimes, even though, like Shane said, and I think he's right, there should be like enormous tempo in this race. It's like sometimes they walk at this race and it's actually not a big number they run.
Yeah.
So while she's vulnerable at the end of 1,200 metres, at the Moonee Valley, they fucking bip that out. They burn to get spots because it's a leader's track. Whereas, like Shane said, everyone thinks everyone gets their chance here. So they're just happy to settle and just cruise. Then they all go.
It'll depend on the track as well. It depends on the track condition.
Yeah, I just think she's more vulnerable.
If it's heavy 8 or 9, it's a different. If it's heavy 8 or 9, it's a completely different race.
Yeah.
All righty. Before we move on to the Derby, let's have a look at everybody's top 5. And Gabby will take it away with yours.
Yeah, I've got Jacquinot on top. Obviously, yeah, probably looking that it's going to be a soft track, questioning that now. But I think he's just such a good horse. He's progressing so well. And I have no concerns that, if he settles well and can absolutely fly down the outside, he's capable of winning this. Obviously, in secrets, going so well. Coolangatta, I wasn't 100% sure of, but I thought if I don't chuck her in, she'll do well. Economics there and Buenos Noches, and he's been down the straight and looks a really nice horse.
And Shane's at top 5.
Jacquinot, Sajardin, In Secret, Nacho Hat, and Economics for all the reasons discussed earlier. My numbers will certainly won't. Like, my numbers will be different on a heavy 8 or 9, definitely. But yeah, that's sort of where I'm at on like that soft sort of 5-6 form. So.
And we'll take a look at mine. I've got, like the other two, Jacquinot on top as well. And I just think that was a nice run from Sajardin last week, getting $21. In Secrets, Economics, and one we probably haven't discussed, the Unbeaten Runner Grand Impact. I think it can be thereabouts in the finish as well. And Jack, your top 5 for the Coolmore on Saturday.
In Secret on top, I think she's very, very special, and she'll probably prove it on Saturday. Lofty Strikes, good value. Best of Bordeaux, like running a figure that shat upon Sajardin the same day. I'm getting the same price. Doesn't make any sense to me. Jacquinot, I think, a superstar. He could have well won a Blue Diamond. Like he's done it at both ends. Just think he's a knock at the price. And Buse is a really, really good roughie that you have to have in all your little exotics and stuff like that if you play that way. Same race multis now. Gamble responsibly, but have a same race multi with Buse in it responsibly.
And Buse could start like 800s here.
Yeah.
That's SP Profile.
Yeah, it could.
Yeah.
It had a beautiful piece of work, a trial within Secret. That's what it sort of got me going here.
Well, you've seen our top 5s there, and 3 of us had Jacquinot on top, and Dicko at baggybet.com is rounding out to $6 top price. So if you haven't already, click the link below, download the app, and get yourself a nice little piece of the Jacquinot action in the Coolmore on Saturday. Moving on to the big one, the 2,500 metre Group 1 for 3-year-olds, the Vic Derby. let's have a look at the market. Sharp and Smart, after his win last weekend in the Spring Champion, comes down from Sydney, $3.70. Barclay Square, $3.40. Mr. Maestro, $6. Pericles, $7.50 in the market. Muramasa, $15, and pretty much write your own ticket. The rest, interesting speed map over the 2,500 meters.
Okay.
Talk to me, Jack.
Yeah, I've assumed a couple of things here, which you shouldn't do when you map horses, but I've done it anyway. I think Mr. Maestro rolls forward from 16. I think they have to.
Was that like last week? I'm Thunderstruck was going forward.
It was going forward or back. Wasn't going to sit like cast wide.
Yeah.
Did I say I was going forward last week?
No, just off like, you hear people saying it's going, like there's so much hearsay to maps and.
Yeah, well, but I think Thunderstruck trying to go forward in a Cox plate with weight for age proven grouse horses is risky. There's every horse in this race is a little bit cautious about getting 2,500 meters. Like no one's going, I'm going to get that low and make sure I lead. You know what I mean? Just get to a rhythm, fall asleep. The lead's there for the taking. And he either does that or he sits 3 wide, which I don't want to do, or he goes back to near last, or just tries to find a spot. And they don't get any peace when they do that because they've got to jostle for that spot. You're letting me in, you're not letting me in. Oh, I go another pair. Chaos, carnage. I think he can roll forward. I think Pericles gets a beautiful run. Muramasa, beautiful run. Berkeley Square, PR. Sharp and Smart, really nice run, but does get handled by Willow to an extent. But well may suit him because the greatest human being in racing is absolutely airborne and it'll be a good tail to follow. I think Grand Piero, the interns have been writing piano on the things. I don't know why. Grand Piero will have to go back from the wide draw. I think we all sort of like him a little bit. I thought he was enormous winning at Geelong, Shane, and just if he got a draw on a barrier, he'd certainly be more of a temptation to have a bet at.
Great.
But he hasn't. I think this race is pretty straightforward, but do you want to let the other guys go first or do you want me to? Or?
Yeah, well, look, how about we see a replay of our pretty strong favourite, Sharp and Smart, winning the Group 1 Spring Champion last weekend. It was a pretty tough win. I think an unlucky runner that goes around in the Oaks that looks immoral. She's extreme, flying down the outside.
And this is a new form reference pattern. Like PVL's changing things. This doesn't normally happen before a derby. 1 week before.
So yeah, I mean, obviously on the quick backup from last weekend, there it is, just getting over the line there over 2,000 meters. Your thoughts on the derby, Shane? Sharp and Smart, firstly, can it win?
Yeah, it certainly can win. I think it's a great chance. Really toughed it out there. Sort of suggests that it'll be tough at the end of 2,500 as well. Didn't have the easiest run in transit either, and still toughed it out to the line. And probably wouldn't have thought it was winning at the 200. He was sort of laying in a little bit, and he got over the top of him. He showed enough in that run to be definitely hard to beat. No doubt about it.
And we'll take a look at the Vars from Moonee Valley on the weekend because I know one that Gabby loves. She's spoken about him and had him on top quite a few times on our shows this spring. Was Barclay Square, but also in the race was a Godolphin runner, Pericles, and also one at a price, Berardino. And Gabby, you're keen on his chances on Saturday.
I definitely am. I mean, I'd be silly if I decided to jump off him. My only concern with these horses are an extra 400 meters is a long way. So that is definitely my concern. Obviously, he's proven he can stay and every test he's sort of been put to, he succeeds. But, the reason I chucked Gran Piero in was purely because him and I think only a couple of others have been to that 2,200 meter mark, which is obviously and he ran so well winning at Geelong just over the 2,200. So that's my concern, the extra 400 with these horses. But I think the way Barclay Square's going, I can't jump off. I think he's just, Craig Williams is just, he's so good. And yeah, I think he's just hopefully just continues to go on with it.
And obviously happy to take the $3.40 on offer at the moment.
Yeah, happy with the 340. Would like him to drift a little, but I don't know if he will. Potentially could. I'm not sure. It depends how much they come for sharp and smart. But yeah, I think he's a good chance here.
Jack, what do you think the market does here? Very interesting. I see Sharp and Smart has been backed today and already come in from sort of that 370, 380 to 340, 350 with all books.
I've just gone out to 380 yet. I don't know what they're going to do though, at all. I think that they're going to come for Berkeley Square, because it's a perfect barrier. It's a traditional lead up. He looked like he could have done another lap last week at Moonee Valley.
What, at 13s? Like 13 seconds to the furlong?
Well, like the other horses that some of them in this race are doing 14-second furlongs.
Yeah.
Well, I love the preparation. It's the typical one that works. Last year's winner came through the Caulfield Guineas as well. I think this horse is pretty special. I think he's handled Flemington and seen Flemington. That was like a bunch blanket finish at Rose Hill or Randwick, wherever that was last week. That is like, I think it's his third run in 18 days, like New Zealand to Sydney, Sydney to Melbourne. Berkeley Square is just like through his gears. He's at home. He knows what he's doing. I think he has the edge on the other horse in the market. I think Berkeley Square has a big edge on Pericles, who ran past, because he ran past it last week.
How? But Pericles was 1,400 to 2,000.
Yeah.
But like Pericles was a run behind all of them on Saturday. And now it gets them when he's ready to go. Massive discrepancy in the price between Berkeley Square and Pericles for mine.
The SP profiles.
I just said for mine. Sorry. I'm not looking for a job at Sky.com. I didn't mean to say for mine. I said it, so it's my opinion. That's why I said it.
Yeah, I think that's...
Apologies to everyone at home.
It's not an opinion. That's a fact. Pericles was backed to beat Berkeley Square last week. And off that, you can definitely argue your point. I just thought the horse was wanted to roll in on Jamie and was like a lot lighter in condition than Berkeley Square was in the yard, which obviously I've looked at the horses once. I used to do it a lot, so I'm going off it a little bit. It's probably going to be a mistake. And this is the race that's caused me the most pain in my life. And it might do again, but I'm going to take on Sharp and Smart. We're going to be top of the market. I'm not going to take on Pericles. I'm just going to sit it. I'm going to cuddle it. Same as Mr. Maestro if he goes forward, which I think he does. I think that's the race, and I think Berkeley Square deserves to be favourite. I think that's the one they'll back. He was in like full, beautiful condition last week. Got through his gears. I think he's fine.
So top of the market, Sharp and Smart. I mean, that's just for the next hour or so for the punters on the live stream. Do you think that they come for Berkeley and Sharp and Smart gets out even further, or is it those two that are sort of going to have that sort of battle at the top of the market and not much will change?
No, I think they'll come for a few in the market because the others I don't think can win. So I don't think they come for Mr. Maestro to be Sharp and Smart, Berkeley Square or Pericles. And there is a very valid argument that Shane makes to shorten up Pericles in the market if you're betting in the race.
That's very interesting. No one's really mentioned Mr. Maestro. Let's have a look at a replay of him. He was sort of the one before this start that sort of came out, and I think it was into $3.54 in their sort of futures all-in market. You can get $6, $7 around now. Shane, have you got him in your top five? Did you give him a chance?
I'm just double checking what I said here earlier. Oh, yeah, I've had him in for fifth. Just purely because I think he can stay the 2,500 a little bit better than the rest. But
doesn't it? And in this race, doesn't it come down to that? Like you see massive gaps in the horses. The last horse will be 30, 40 lengths off them. 2,500 meters for 3-year-olds. This is obviously the last run of their campaign. It sees some of the champion, the better horses that come in and at short prices.
And for a lot of them, And for a lot of them, James, this will be their last run in their careers. Getting smashed out to 2,500 because, he's slow, so we'll have a throw up the stumps and see if he can stay. They should be scintigraphing horses, whatever you call it, for this race.
And I think a few of our punters
tail.
in the chat were very similar to Jack and I, holding some large tickets on a horse called Young Werther when Dennis Pagan and Johnny get angry at
around the Cox Plate. Young Werther were in the Cox Plate last week, and Johnny get angry was 20 minutes away at Living Legends.
Retired at Living Legends.
Honestly.
What a hypocrisy. I thought Mr. Maestro got given a sore back last week. It was an ugly ride, and it was probably a little bit better win than give it credit for, and it'll be whacking away at the end of 2,500.
I do think that, your confidence is going to stay, aren't you?
Yeah.
Well, one thing we should do is a shout out to intern Lindsay, who on this show declared Berkeley Square as a Guineas and a Derby horse, and has put himself in a very similar position to you and I did, James, with Young Werther. So probably pray for him whatever happens, because he's a character and an operator. So if he ends up with an enormous amount of cash, I'll worry about him. And if a horse gets nutted on the line, hopefully it's by a good horse. If it does, not by Johnny get angry, Dennis. But pray for him again. But full credit to you, intern Linz.
What are the Johnny get angry runners here?
Distrustful award.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
I think it'll stay too.
Yep, great.
Well, let's have a look at all of our top fives, and we'll start with you, Gabby.
Yeah, just down Berkeley Square, obvious reasons there. Sharp and Smart's obviously flying, no knock at all. Mr. Maestro, I thought I better chuck him in just because he has been pretty honest the last 3 wins. Pericles could lead here, and William Buick aboard. Another thing is most of these horses can handle the heavy, which makes it kind of more exciting. It's whether they can back up, like asking a 3-year-olds occasionally. I know Godolphin would be doing the right thing, but backing up into a 2,500 meter race can be hard work if it handles it unreal. But and then Grand Piero, obviously he's sort of won well at 2,200 meters, which gives me the idea he's going to easily sort of handle the 2,500.
And Shane, your top 5. And then, I don't know if one of you guys can, we've got someone on the chat, Ryan McIntyre, saying Muramasa a chance here, fellas.
I think he's a player and still has a bit of upside about him, and in sort of a camp where they'll find out if you can or you can't. So, and he gets a beautiful, beautiful run, right, from that barrier.
Shane, your top 5, please.
Yeah, I went with Sharp and Smart on top. Gabby touched on a good point there, as most of these will handle the conditions if it does continue to rain or whatever else. Who knows here in Melbourne. Pericles, as I mentioned, was 14 to 2,000 and just got a bit tired late. I think that 2,000 meter run under his belt now on the 7-day backup will hold him in good stead, and I think it's a great chance. Are we saying Berkeley Square or Berkeley Square? How do you pronounce it?
I'll say Berkeley.
Berkeley
Square.
So it's probably Berkeley.
Opposite.
Berkeley Square, I've got in for 3rd. I just prefer to sort of bet against with Pericles v him at the current prices based on that last start. And then what do I throw in for 4th? I called it Grand Piero. Someone has called it Grand Piano. And Mr. Maestro just will, because I think it'll whack away and stay, has to be a top 5 chance. But there's no real outliers there. I think that obviously that's pretty well the top 5 that the market agrees with. From an outlier point of view, I thought Distrustful Award, will stay the 2,500 quite strongly, and he could sort of whack into the sort of top 4 if you would play that way. But it'll just depend on how the track plays, I suppose.
Thank you. And we'll take a look at my top 5 in the Derby. I've got the
Oh,
Godolphin horse, Pericles on top. I like the setup. Just tired late, 1,400 to 2,000 on the 7-day back up to 2,500 meters. And just at the price, I've got it on top. Man Zeus, one at $26 for you out there. Definitely have that in your exotics multiples, same race multis. And the third fastest last 200. And I really think the 2,500 meters will suit it. Berkeley Square, Grand Piano, and Mr. Maestro, I think we've touched on previously. And Jack, your top 5, please.
Keen, Berkeley Square wins. I think Mr. Maestro is a good horse who will stay, like Shane said, sharp and smart. I think he's going to go close, but I just don't like that bunch finish coming out of, which has helped me lean towards Berkeley Square with confidence. Pericles, I'm grade up by the yard last week. Blessed in run, wobbled. Now he's got to go up and trip. But I agree with Shane, the SP profile is a genuine thing here with this horse, and he's in an elite camp. And Grand Piero, interns, he's flying. And like getting through a Geelong, not just the distance gap, but like a Geelong track is a little bit rougher too. It's sort of uphill that last little bit. I think he's primed to run a big race. I just think he'll sort of have to do a little bit too much work from where he is, but he's a big price.
And David Winch on the chat says Sharp and Smart will be winning. Well, David, Jack has wound it out to $3.80.
Come and get some, Disco.
Come
responsibly.
and get some. Download the app and gamble responsibly. But $3.80 top of the market. If you're keen, come and have a bet. Well, that's it for the 3 Group 1s and our preview. What we'll do, we'll take a look at our best and value bets, and then we'll finish off with a couple of the yarns. Best bets, Shane.
I think it's the last, is it?
Race
9, number 2 is for Henry Dwyer. John Allen jumps on, led all the way, winning very well, Shane. Very well at Caulfield. Run a big number.
Ran a big number. For anyone else, if a headline trainer had this horse,
but it's Henry. Yeah, I was going to say it's Henry Dwyer.
It'd be 240 if a headline trainer had it off its last start. Could well start that. If the track and everything sort of all line up by this.
Well, he handled that Caulfield track for you, which will give you a lot of confidence with the rain around anyway, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Look, obviously, but it does. Like it has drawn gate too. So,
John Allen inside draws, it's scary stuff.
But in saying that, it shouldn't be sort of settling outside of the first 5 really. But like as I said, if it's if for some reason that if it continues to rain and the inside of the track chops out, well, from gate 2 with Johnny on, I'd probably be just like doing a 180. But anyway, that's as it stands right now. I think $3 is a good price.
And Gabby, you got one in the hometown for us?
Yeah, heading to Queensland, race 4, number 1, Parade. He's just going really, really well this prep, and he deserves another win, stepping down in class here after running a good 4th behind Fun Fact and Cedar Power last start. I think he gets a nice run here. He's never missed a place over this distance, and he's 2 from 2 track and trip. 440 is a good price as well, and I think he can definitely win.
And I'm very, very keen, La Crick. Take the 250. It starts shorter than that. The rest of the field, I mean, bar she's lickety split. They're all just numbers that take it in turns. So, this is
that's it. You're getting back to sort of the aggressive sort of tone you were declaring this thing on Tuesday. Started off nice.
Moral. Shane.
Nice. Here we go. Got it.
Jack.
That's the first time you said moral on the show. Race 1, number 2. I'm going to get the week started with Uncle Chris. J-Mac replaces Hugh Bowman. Second fastest last 400 meters of the day. Fastest last 200 meters of the day. It's coming from a midweek race, but I just think year after year, these lower sort of races on the bigger days, he just picks them apart, doesn't he? And I think this horse is pretty smart with a bit of upside versus a couple of that sort of we know where they're at.
Before we get into the value bets, Tim Garrett on the chat earlier did mention evening all would like Curls to call race 1 at Eagle Farm. Now, we know Curls rates himself as a caller, but I know there's always 3 or 4 Mashanis in a race, but this is ridiculous up there in race 1 Eagle Farm, isn't it?
About the 4th week in a row.
It's one of the most bizarre things I've seen, particularly when the stable has the $1.60 favourite, the $3 second favourite, and then everything else is about 150s. I don't really have an opinion. I won't be betting in the race, so who gives a shit? But look, it gives something for the narrative writers to write about. Oh, like I could just imagine a headline on Twitter from one of them non-betting joints, like it'd be like, "Good luck to the race caller on Saturday."
Oh. How many tweets has there been of that already?
I don't know. I was too busy doing Rocky form today. Look, I'd love to call it. You know what I'd do? I wouldn't call any of the Mashani horses at all that weren't in the market. I'd just completely ignore them, and I'd focus on the 3 horses in the market because no one gives a shit.
Well,
that's what I'd do.
Tim,
what about just speaking of like
what I call them Magic Lands.
What if one of them, the $150 is into like 60s, like we saw in the Golden Eagle?
What happened?
Well, 100. It was like 100s into like 50s, and now it's into like 20s, and before it had got a run. Which is
like imagine
it's a strange way to bet, isn't it, Shane? Like, would you want to bet on a horse that wasn't going to get a run?
Well, I would if I knew it was going to get a run, wouldn't I, Jack? If I knew hypothetically that the handicap was going to raise at 3 points and the field size was going to extend by 2, I'd be having me life each way at 81s.
Unbelievable,
wouldn't I? There's no real sneaky here. I don't think there's no like Mashani horse that's 4th emergency that's been backed.
I don't think they beat that Renegade. It's immature and I think it's getting better every start. But
yeah, God bless its cotton socks. We're on it. Last couple. So.
All righty. Now let's move on to our value plays this Saturday. Shane.
I haven't backed it yet, James. A tissue, I'd be like a quarter by, $51.
Baggybet.com. Download the app. Gamble responsibly.
Because I never backed this stable early, James. Remember? Yeah. That's my rule in life. We'll see how the track plays out. It's a big price, and I'll be having a quarter of a stake, a win, and 3/4 the place sort of thing.
And Gab, your best value each way play on Saturday.
I like this. You're back. You sacked it a little bit.
I did.
You've got it back in your team.
I thought, look, after 2 starts ago when I got the shivers because it was sort of hanging on quite well at one stage, and before Private Eye absolutely zoomed past it. But I thought finds a okay race here. He's going to be on speed as usual. Forget last start at the Valley. If he can bring that form 2 starts ago behind Private Eye, I definitely think he's a chance each way at $12.
James, this is very, very flary, like real flary. This thing wasn't. I was pricing race to race when this thing won, and it wasn't meant to win. Like no one thought it was going to win then, and here you are. It's going. I'm in. I believe.
Race 9, number 20, Libiamo, $71. I have had a piece of a little bit higher. It's just
some win, wasn't it?
For everyone, yes. And look, I mean, it's a massive step up in grade, but I think it's drawn well to get to the outside, down the straight, race 9, which I do love. And $71, you don't have to have much on to get a nice little collect. So race 9, number 20, Libiamo. And Jack, your best each way on Saturday.
Best each way, there's a few of them. I've gone with Lofty Strike in the Coolmore. I think More Vada and Pride of Jenny in race 5 are both big odds and good bets too. And I think it's a great betting day. Like you're going to get good odds most of the day. A couple of favourites I think you can trust. Just enjoy it.
Now, before we get into some of the comments from YouTube, I don't know if you've done the race up in Sydney, Shane, but I know that there'd be plenty of people watching with fat pockets from you using the N word and declaring Private Eye at $9 immoral. Can he beat the short price favourite up there in the Nature Strip Classic or whatever they're calling it?
Yeah, let me start by saying, yes, I used the M word moral, right? And it won like one. During the week, I used this thing could be a moral. I used that word to describe Deauville Legend. Rupert Murdoch heard it, and they've cut it. They've turned off the promo because they've heard me say this thing could be a moral. And then they heard Matt Chapman say that I'm an idiot for saying it. So then they said, well, wind it in again. Anyway,
just when you thought he might have like cooked himself and run out of petrol. Look at him go.
I know.
Just look at him go. Just keeps throwing it. Can't keep a great man down.
Well, I'll tell you one thing that Sydney doesn't have, James, and that's tracks you can trust. So who the fuck would know
He's fired up late.
What condition it's going to be in? Like, it's a complete circus in Sydney. They change race fields and handicap points because of optics. You know, who knows? What I do know though is if this thing from the barrier, like, it's just not going to get as good as it had in the Everest when it ran a super race and nearly won. So it's going to be sort of back and wide, but potentially back wide with cover may be the place to be at Rose Hill by race 7. I've no clue how that track will play. What does surprise me is seeing Eduardo line up again after it was they blamed it was a bit lame for its failure when it was gone at the 600 trying to keep Nature Strip 3 deep.
I think he might have a better day without Nature Strip annoying him, you know, up in front.
Oh, he may have too, but the other horse that the RSPCA will be keeping a close eye on there will be Shelby 66, I'd imagine.
Mate. Yeah,
he's unbelievable, this horse. Like, come on.
But no,
give it a break.
It's embarrassing, is what it is. And I'll be interesting to see how We Own a Smart One goes down there from the Van Dyke yard. But I don't know. One of those things. There might be an in-run job because if Masked Crusader jumps, you could sort of entertain it if it's a run-on day. But yeah, no, I'm not declaring Private Eye this week from the map.
Marzu could also run a good race. It was 3 wide in there.
Yeah, it was an enormous run. Good run.
I'm with you, Gab. I reckon it's like the A-grade sprinter with the most upside at the moment. Like a bit of youth on its side.
Yeah, agree.
All righty, before we bid well for this evening, we obviously, off the top of the show, I wanted everyone to put in their favourite, funniest Derby Day story, whether it was being out on the piss or a big collect or a sick beat. Shane, have you been reading through a few of them?
Yeah, a lot of young worder.
Yeah.
A lot of young worder references there.
That's real triggering.
Really is.
Yeah.
What are your what are your two favourites? Who's going home with the bonus bets in their baggy bet account to use for the big weekend?
Or cash if they want it.
But Daniel Kennedy's pretty stiff there. Not a bad Derby day, that. How do you split the young worder stories? Like, everyone's in the same boat there.
How many is there?
Paul Z.
Just write them down. One of you, James, write them down. If you write,
the young Werther guys can all have a bonus bet because
on me,
Jack
Paul
and
C,
I will
Purcell.
up. But I think Chris B would have to be the winner. In 03, young and broke, group of mates chucked all our coins together and brought a Fruity Lexia goon bag, Packer Winnie Blues, and a Flemington quaddie. Elvstrom won out first leg. Happy days for us.
Yeah, that's good enough for me.
Winning Blues.
So
that would have been when they were like actually a blue pack too.
Yes,
yeah, it would have been.
Yes. Sounds like a good day, Chris. Hopefully you can replicate that one. 03 is a long time ago, so in your older age on Saturday.
Hope he's had a connect since.
Any final words, team? Gabby, where will you be on Saturday?
I think I'll actually be on the couch at the moment. Watching. I love Derby Day. It's one of the best of the year. There's one that I absolutely froze to death in Melbourne. So I won't be missing the possibility of that, but I'll be comfortable and yeah, I don't think I'll miss a race Saturday.
Hopefully you're finding plenty of winners. Shane, you got a big day Saturday, don't you? Another one?
Yeah, I'll be.
Look at him go.
Oh,
No,
I'll be in the Crown Marquee on Saturday for Derby Day, James.
So I'll tell you something, punters. If you aren't already, like and subscribe to the YouTube channel, because on Sunday we will be doing a runner by runner preview of the Melbourne Cup, and Shane will be backing up after a day in the Crown Marquee at Derby Day. So it could be very, very good viewing.
I'm flying home Monday, James. So I sort of plan to go to the Crown Marquee. That's Derby Day at Crown Marquee. Not sleep, do the preview show, go to the Betfair function Sunday arvo, get escorted out, go to bed, wake up, fly home.
Well, Jesus, that's
I'm no shorter than $3. I'm no longer than $3.
Do you have enough ticker? I'm not sure.
Yes.
Bonding.
Right.
So this is good, Gab. Very good.
I wasn't the first one home Tuesday either, Gab. So.
And Jack.
You're 46, mate. You have to react to everyone in picture.
Challenge accepted.
Look at him. He couldn't just cop one. He had to throw it straight back.
I know. I accept the challenge. I'll FaceTime you when the sun comes up.
You'll be in bed, I'm sure.
Yeah. I'll see you.
And Jack, any parting words before a massive week of hunting?
It's a phenomenal weekend of gambling and then a beautiful week of betting and racing. Just sit back and enjoy it. Don't do a Shane and cook yourself unless you can handle that sort of stuff. Because you're going to miss out on so much. It's so much good content, so much great racing. I'll be competitive prices, taking on 1 or 2 horses every race Saturday at Flemington tomorrow night as well. So if you want to have a bet on a horse, just check what price we are, because we may well be the biggest. But download the app, gamble responsibly, and just have a great weekend. And definitely do that, punters. Download the app, log in. We've got great promotions starting tomorrow night at the Valley, moving through the whole weekend. Shane, you got your hand up, or are you waving? No, I just had a little aneurysm there thinking about the Crown Marquee. So, yeah, I'm feeling now. Thank you to our sponsors, as always, puntingform.com.au, powering all the data behind the team at Mailbag. And, of course, baggybet.com. Download the app today and gamble responsibly. Until Sunday morning, punters, have a good weekend, and we'll see you next time.